Ozempic doesn't burn fat. It silences hunger by screaming one signal at your brain. But your gut already has a natural brake pedal for appetite, and almost nobody knows how to press it. GLP-1 isn't a drug. It's a hormone your body was designed to produce. You have the factory inside you right now. And in this video, I'll show you how modern food shut that factory down and how to turn it back on without injections. To hack this system, we first need to understand what GLP-1 actually is. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. It is an incretin hormone secreted by the L cells found in the lining of your intestines. When GLP-1 is released, it travels to the brain and hits the hypothalamus, flipping the switch from hungry to satiated. It acts as the master regulator of enough. In a healthy hunter-gatherer, this system worked perfectly. They ate tough, fibrous, unrefined food. It took a long time to digest. As it moved physically through the gut, it triggered a steady, rhythmic release of GLP-1. They felt full for hours because the signal was constant. But in the modern world, our food is pre-digested. It is soft, it is refined, it is hyper-palatable. It is absorbed instantly in the upper part of the intestine, known as the duodenum. It vanishes into the bloodstream before it ever has a chance to travel downstream. This leads to a biological tragedy. The food never reaches the L cells deep in the lower gut. Your brain never gets the phone call that dinner is over. You keep eating because chemically your gut thinks it is empty. Most channels will tell you to just have some willpower, but willpower is a myth when your hormones are screaming at you to eat. Here at ChillFit Mode, we don't rely on willpower, we rely on physiology. We decode the body's instruction manual so you can rewrite the code. If you want results without the dependency, make sure you are subscribed, join the tribe, and let's engineer your satiety. Now, you might be tempted to take the shortcut. The drug Ozempic works by flooding your system with a synthetic mimic of this hormone that lasts for days. It is like using a megaphone to scream at your brain. But there is a dark side. The muscle loss, the Ozempic face, the paralysis of the stomach, and the reality that once you stop the injection, the weight comes rushing back because you never fixed the underlying signaling system. Our goal is not to scream. Our goal is to restore the natural conversation. We do this by utilizing a powerful physiological mechanism called the ileal brake. The ileal brake is the body's natural appetite suppressant. The ileum is the final section of your small intestine. Evolution designed a fail-safe here. When nutrients, specifically fats and proteins, reach this deep section of the gut, the body panics slightly. It says, "Wait, food is moving too fast. We haven't absorbed everything yet. Slow down." In response to this traffic jam in the lower gut, the ileum releases a massive wave of GLP-1 and another hormone called PYY. This slams the brakes on digestion. It paralyzes the stomach temporarily and kills your appetite instantly. This is the natural Ozempic effect. And here is the key for your waistline. Because GLP-1 drastically lowers insulin, this mechanism disproportionately burns visceral belly fat, which is the most insulin-sensitive tissue in your body. The reason you are always hungry is that your food is being absorbed too high up. It never triggers the brake. So, the engineering challenge is simple. How do we force food to travel deeper? How do we biohack the transit time so that nutrients hit the L cells and trigger the explosion of satiety hormones? We attack this with three specific levers: the delivery system, the molecular agonist, and the density factor. We start with the delivery system, viscous fiber. We're not talking about bran flakes or roughage. We're talking about fibers that absorb water and turn into a thick, mucilaginous gel. The kings of this category are psyllium husk and glucomannan. When you take a teaspoon of psyllium husk mixed with water before a meal, it expands. It turns into a gel in your stomach. This gel binds to the food you eat. It acts like a protective shield, encapsulating the carbohydrates and proteins. Because the food is shielded, it resists the digestive enzymes in the upper stomach. It bypasses the quick absorption of the duodenum. It travels down, 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 protected by the gel, until it finally breaks open deep in the ileum. Boom! The ileo break is triggered. The L cells detect the nutrients and flood your blood with GLP-1. You feel a profound sense of fullness that has nothing to do with the volume of food you ate, and everything to do with the location where it was absorbed. You are essentially biohacking the transit time of your food to mimic the digestion of an ancestor. Next, we need a molecular agonist. While fiber handles the mechanics, we need chemistry to stimulate the cells directly. This brings us to a South American plant that is arguably the most powerful natural GLP-1 booster in the world, yerba mate. Yerba mate is often compared to coffee, but metabolically they are different beasts. While coffee stimulates the adrenal glands, yerba mate stimulates the gut. Research published in metabolic journals has shown that yerba mate increases the expression of GLP-1 and increases leptin sensitivity. It does this through compounds called saponins and caffeic quinic acids. But there is a second mechanism here involving bitter receptors. Evolution taught humans that bitter things are potential toxins. When we taste profound bitterness, the body activates receptors called T2Rs in the gut. These receptors signal the stomach to stop emptying, to prevent us from digesting potential poison too fast. Yerba mate hits these bitter receptors hard. By drinking it, you hijack this toxicity defense system to kill your appetite. One specific study on obese subjects showed that yerba mate supplementation decreased body fat mass and waist-hip ratio without significant dietary changes. It acts as a natural appetite suppressant, not just by making you jittery, but by chemically signaling "stop eating" to the brain. This explains why it works even if you don't consciously count calories. Sipping yerba mate in the morning or before your main meal primes the L cells. It wakes them up so they are ready to release hormone the moment food arrives. Finally, we need the protein density factor. We know protein is the most satiating macronutrient, but the texture of the protein matters for the ileal break. Liquid protein, like a whey shake, is absorbed instantly. It spikes insulin but doesn't do much for long-term GLP-1. It is too easy to digest. Solid, dense protein, like steak, chicken breast, or firm fish, requires massive mechanical and chemical effort to break down. Chunks of undigested protein peptides manage to survive the stomach acid and travel down to the ileum. When these protein fragments hit the L cells, they trigger a release of PYY and GLP-1 that is superior to carbohydrates or fats. This is why you can eat 2,000 calories of potato chips and still be hungry, but you struggle to finish a 10-ounce steak. The chips dissolve in the mouth. The steak travels the distance. The steak hits the break. And let's talk about the mental aspect, the food noise. People on Ozempic report that the constant chatter in their brain about food disappears. This is because GLP-1 interacts with the dopamine reward system. When you use this natural protocol, you get a similar effect. By keeping blood sugar stable with the fiber and protein and stimulating satiety signals with the yerba mate, you lower the dopamine cravings. You stop thinking about your next meal while you are still eating the current one. You don't need a needle to reset your signaling. You just need a better operating system. If you're ready to put these natural GLP-1 triggers to the test, I've laid out the entire 30-day roadmap in the bioengineering protocol. It's the official ChillFit mode guide to unlocking stubborn fat without the biological cost of drugs. Grab your copy via the QR code on your screen or the link in the pinned comment below. Your 30-day reset starts today. So, let's assemble this into the GLP-1 protocol. This is how you mimic the drug without the needle. Step 1. The morning agonist. Instead of your second cup of coffee, switch to yerba mate. Drink it unsweetened to activate the bitter receptors. This begins the chemical signaling of satiety early in the day and boosts fat oxidation. Step 2. The fiber preload. 15 minutes before your biggest meal of the day, usually dinner, mix 1 teaspoon of psyllium husk in a large glass of water and drink it immediately. Follow it with another glass of water. This is crucial. Without water, fiber causes constipation. With water, it creates the viscous gel that will carry your food down to the ileum. Step 3. The protein anchor. When you sit down to eat, prioritize dense, solid protein. Eat the protein first. This ensures that the amino acids are mixing with the fiber gel, creating the perfect trigger for the L cells. When you combine these 3 elements, you create a physiological environment where hunger naturally fades away. The people taking the injections are forcing their bodies to listen to a screaming signal. They are outsourcing their hormonal control to a pharmacy. But when you use the ileal brake, you are simply turning up the volume of your own voice. You are restoring the feedback loop that processed food destroyed. You are not broken. You simply have a signaling problem. And now you have the code to fix it. I'll see you in the next one.